Is backpacking something you've always done?
No, I would say I've been backpacking for about 3 years now, starting with like a out of nowhere solo trip to Peru. And ever since then, I've been doing it a lot, probably more than average. So I've probably gotten better very quickly, but no, just about 3 years now.
So that Peru trip that you just mentioned, did you have like anxieties going into that, or did you just feel calm and cool and collected? Or
Yeah, I definitely over researched and didn't find all of the answers I was looking for. It's weird reflecting back on like my mindset on those first hikes because I didn't know about filtering water. I didn't really know about food, temperature, clothing. Like I overpacked, like all of the common mistakes we make. So it's kind of funny looking back. I was a bit worried, and there's definitely, I didn't have any sun protection. So I definitely got sunburn, just silly things.
yeah, um, like why Peru and why that like out of the blue? Like most people would be like, I'm gonna go backpack, around the corner from my house. You know what I mean? As close as they can, do kind of shakeout trip, get comfortable with things. Was it just you were so focused on like the destination, or what drove you to do an international backpacking trip first thing?
Yeah, I had been to Machu Picchu before, so I felt a little bit more comfortable in Peru. But around that time, I was making videos about trips and I was just having fun going around the world and just exploring cultures and getting better, more confident at traveling in general. And I'm like, why not tack on a hike to this trip to make it like more fun, I guess, to get away from the city, get away from people and just like get into nature. Um, yeah, it seemed interesting and it definitely became more of what I was up to. Like the best way to travel is to hike, in my opinion.
Why do you say that?
Yeah, to get away from people. I'm definitely an introvert, so it's just like overwhelming sometimes to land in a city like I don't know, any major city, like it feels overwhelming. So I always feel comfortable once I get to the small town, like the trailhead town outside of big cities when I travel. So you fly into Peru, it's Lima. Lima's a big city, pretty crazy. Speak a different language, different food. It's hard to get around, different money. But once you take like the bus ride or whatever to Cusco, it's a little better. But like once you get to a trailhead town that's outside of Cusco or wherever you're going, it just like is more manageable and just makes me feel better, more comfortable.
Less coming at you as fast, and so is that part of why you do so many like solo hiking adventures? I mean, obviously on a schedule like yours, it'd be impossible to have someone come with you all the time, right? They'd have to be essentially your videographer while you're on camera or something. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to be paying them because you do so much travel. But do you gravitate towards solo trips?
Yeah, personally, I like the solo aspect. It's just more fun. I really like to go my own speed. I like to just have all the responsibility. And for a lot of these trips, I'm pushing my limits to kind of suffer a little bit with the pain of extra distance, packing just the bare minimum. So if I'm cold a little bit or just a little tiny underprepared, I can deal with it. But putting someone else through that and then being responsible for them as the leader for the hike would just be extra stress. And it's just easier to make a video by myself, to be honest.
Yeah, like your headspace is just there all the time, right? Yeah.
I don't
I
have to
can
ask
definitely.
for anyone's permission to do anything. I don't have to tell anyone that I'm stopping to get this shot. I just execute and do it. And it's actually relaxing in that way. It's definitely stress inducing to just involve people and more responsibility with these trips. So I've done both though. This is the first year that I did some group trips, some trips with my brother and trips with my wife. And I'll definitely scale it back and go back to my roots and be a little more solo with my trips for 2023, probably.
I want to hear about that because I've watched some of your group trips, having signups and different things there, and I thought that was pretty fascinating, right? I mean, I think you had quite a few from what I saw as far as just you have people going signing up for a trip, then you've got a tour guide, and you're kind of partnering up with that tour guide to pull it off, and I imagine you might be making a little bit of money off of that, or at least getting your travel comped, and so it seems from a business perspective that seems like a really solid way to go about it, right?
Too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
It
You're
was
living
it
the
was a
dream,
big
Kraig.
test. It was a big test, and I've come out the other side not wanting to do it as much. But I knew it was out of my comfort zone. Like
Yeah.
it's such a silly thing to go on a group hike with the guy who hikes alone, first and foremost. But I did it. I'm glad I did it. That's why I did so many. Just to throw myself into the fire. And there was a couple different group trips. One was, some were more tame, so sightseeing, and some were more intense hiking, and one was trail running. So, all three different types, I guess. And yeah, I definitely want to just go on smaller hikes with maybe other creators who are absolutely my speed. And other than that, it would take a lot of incentive for me to do like a big hike somewhere with, any kind of subscriber.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your speed, Kraig?
Yeah, it's fast. I like to go fast. Like to be efficient. It's funny because I was just hiking by myself and I didn't really understand. I guess there's always someone faster and always someone slower, so it doesn't matter. But it is painful to go slow. It's really, really painful to get to camp at 12 or 1 and sit around for 5 or 6 hours waiting for the next day. It's really painful to take multiple breaks. Yeah, I just want to be selfish when I hike and go my own speed.
Yeah. Yeah, I got into trail running a year and a half ago, and that really moved the needle for me just in hiking as far as like what I was capable of and what was comfortable. And just this last summer, I went out to kind of your neck of the woods in Colorado now, and was doing some hiking, and my brother just wasn't holding the same pace as I was. And so I was trying to go slow with him, and eventually at the end of the day, he's like, dude, just go up to camp. And and he wasn't even going that much slower. But the interesting thing was when I finished the day, we'd hiked like 13 or 14 miles. And I was like, why am I this exhausted? Like usually we do 20, 25 in the high country like we were in. And, I just thought about that. I'm like, so much of it has to do with just time on feet, I think. So when you're going slow, just going like hiking slow or hiking fast, whatever's comfortable to you. I think that it's not like hiking slow is just significantly easier. You're still on your feet with your backpack on this, now you've just lengthened that time. And that kind of caught me off guard this summer. So hiking or slowing things down would I think be interesting in that sense. But also I don't know what I would do getting to camp that early.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's, every person's way of doing it is the correct way, but I like to, put some effort and sweat a little bit. Some people don't like to sweat when they hike, which is funny to me. Yeah. They go the maximum speed before they sweat. So yeah,
that would be like half a mile an hour for me. I produce some significant sweat, and it proves to be challenging for hydration on the other end of that. But